Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. This is going to be a quite quick one because I've just finished laying out the card for Night 3 of the Golden Path Tournament. I'm going to be streaming it very, very soon, so this is going to be a relatively fast episode. I still have 6 albums to go through, so let's go through them as quick, and I do mean as quick as I can manage. We begin with a band called Apes from Quebec, and their second album titled Penitence. This is a mixture of black metal and grindcore. And I'm giving it the less graded episode, which is a B-. I thought it had a really unique style mesh, and the bands are absolutely giving it their all. They have a ton of dedication, and there is some solid, some decent bits of pacing as well. But the production feels a little bit undercooked and underserved at times, and the lyrics feel like they don't really have a lot of context to them. I mean, for one thing, it's hard to understand what they're saying, but for another thing, you can't really find themes even if you look. But still, for the second album, if we're having a unique style mix, I think it's solid enough. Next, we have Clickbait with At Your Leisure. This is a band who I thought were from England, but they're from Chicago. Sort of a electro-leaning, pop-punkish, sort of almost post-punk band with a very big 80s flair to them. Giving this one a B. I thought it was some solidly charming stuff. I think it's an all-female group. I thought it had some really good lyrical themes, but they repeat the lyrics a lot, and honestly the structuring was quite impressive too. But the main members have enough heart for this sort of thing, and they come across quite charming, which is nice. I don't mind the production. I actually think it actually adds to the 80s element of it quite well, and I like how well explored it is. And I don't mind the riffs either. I actually quite like them, you know, just really good, mostly good mix on this stuff, and yeah, can recommend if you just want to give it a spin. Next is The Eternal and their new album Skinwalker. This is an Australian gothic metal leaning band. I'm giving this one a big plus. I thought this was really enjoyable stuff from my favourite country to pump out any sort of music, usually. I liked the themes quite a lot. I thought there were some really good lyrics to them. I can't tell you any off the top of my head, and I'm not going to edit any in because, again, this is going to be really fucking quick. I thought the album's main problem was the pacing. It does get a bit flabby, and it's over an hour. It's like an hour and 5 minutes and something. It's quite a lot. But the band put in some really good performances. The guitar work is top notch, and I quite like the production. It's probably my favourite part about the album. The mix is just nice and has really good details. So, if you like all that stuff and you just like some good gothic metal, this is really good gothic metal. Next is Fell Warden with his newest album, Legend Forged in Defiance. Fell Warden is the one-man project of a man nicknamed The Watcher, but whose real name is Mark Allain, who is from London, England. And giving this one an A, I quite liked it. It's a tribute to a departed fantasy author named David Gemmell, and is based on a lot of his works, and it tells a sort of concept story about heroism and has a really good fantasy theme, almost a bit like listening to a Berserk-themed album, but in a more positive light than Berserk, because if you know anything about Berserk, boy howdy. But the production is really good, assuming it was all done by Mark. His instrumentation, his overall performance is fantastic. Really good riffs, loved the lyric writing as well, and the storytelling, and pretty good pacing. Not really a lot of sag or drag with it, just has a really straightforward goal and gets to it quite nicely, and has really good story moments, so I can recommend it for that. Next we have a debut album. We have Noxus and their first album titled Violence Inherent in the System. That is a fucking cool name. This is a death metal band, and I quite liked a lot of the elements of this one. I'm giving it a B. I thought it had some really good, sort of straight up brutal death metal stuff, but it's not like unga bunga bash heads death metal either. It's actually quite cleverly written with good themes of ego death, among other things, and I quite like how it's handled. I think the performances are really good. I do think the production, again, sort of undercuts it a little bit at times, but the structuring is really fucking good. I like the guitar work, I like the drums, I like the performances, I like the passion put behind it, and for the first album, it's a really, really good one. I do think there's a couple of steps that they could take, but I'll look forward to seeing if they do take those steps. All in all, a really solid bit of work, just solid riffs and really good writing, honestly. And also, the pacing does not let the fuck up at all. And finally, we head to a country I don't think I've ever gone to before for these, South Africa, for the band Volvodinia, and their new album Enter Benny. This is a deathcore album from a band that's actually been trending at this kind of stuff quite well for a while. I've been giving this one an A+. I really like this thing, not just because it's like brutal deathcore stuff, and with really good guitar work as well. And also shoutouts to Lawandela Present, who steps up from guitar to doing vocal duties, and he absolutely tears it up on the mic. But the production is really, really nicely handled well, the performances look solid, and I like the lyrical themes. There is some stuff about gore and death, but there's also stuff about sexual and racial abuse and racial inequality, and I quite like how it's handled. It's written with a very grim thing. I will say, to bear that in mind, it's quite a dark album for what it is, and sort of obviously, and yeah, all in all, really fucking just straight up enjoyed it. Heavy as hell, really good guitar work. I will admit the guitar solo sounded a bit weirdly mixed at times. I don't know if that was just me, but like the riffs, like the heaviness of the instrumentation and the themes, good production, really good performances. Yeah, not really many complaints about this one. And next is the sort of ranking system, so I'll just get through it really quickly. A is with Penitence. I would go with Clickbait Without Your Leisure, Noxus with Violence Inherent in the System, The Eternal with Skinwalker, Fell Warden with Legend Forged and Defiance, and finally Volvadinia and Benny. But as always, go and listen to all of these. My favourite album cover goes to Noxus with Violent Inherent in the System, because I like that the names spell the album title. It's cool. And my favourite song goes to Death from Fell Warden's album. I think it's a really good closer with a really, really good narrative storytelling to it. That'll about do it for me, though. I've really got to get going. I'll see you all in like 10 minutes, or you know, you might not see this until after the stream's over. I just went to get the video recorded, depending on when you're watching this. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow as well for a reaction, and then also for night 4, the final night of the Golden Path tournament. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.